Carlos Alcaraz is already thinking beyond 2025. Even as the season nears its end, with the ATP Finals and Davis Cup still ahead, the Spaniard and his team have begun shaping a plan that could define his career's next chapter. The goal remains crystal clear: end the year as world number one. But now, there's a second mission: rebuild a long-term path to dominance. The foundations of that plan are already being set. After a year filled with intense competition, 2 Grand Slam titles, 3 Masters 1000 trophies, and 1 missed opportunity in Paris, Alcaraz has confirmed his participation in several key tournaments for 2026. One of the first on his list is the Queen's Club Championship in London, the traditional prelude to Wimbledon. For Alcaraz, Queen's is not just another stop on the tour, it's a personal ritual. He first played there in 2023, won the title, and weeks later lifted his first Wimbledon trophy. He returned in 2024, suffered an early loss to Jack Draper, and came back stronger in 2025, defeating Jiri Lehecka to win again. "Queen's is very special for me," he said. "It always gives me good energy before Wimbledon. Every time I win there, something great happens afterward." The tournament, scheduled from June 13th to 21st, will once again serve as his bridge between clay and grass. It's part of a carefully designed sequence Ferrero believes is key to restoring Carlos's rhythm and joy. Behind the scenes, the preparation has already begun in Murcia. After the disappointment in Paris, Juan Carlos Ferrero immediately restructured the team's priorities: more rest, less media exposure, and a deeper focus on mental strength. The message was clear: the problem was not physical, it was psychological. Ferrero told his player bluntly, "Carlos, the difference between you and Sinner right now is in your head." He didn't mean it as an insult, but as a diagnosis. Ferrero, a former world number one himself, knows what it takes to stay at the top. He reminded Alcaraz that the hunger, not the technique, is what keeps champions alive. "You can't play for fear of losing what you already achieved," he said during a private meeting. That reality check hit hard. In Paris, Alcaraz's defeat against Cameron Norrie exposed not just a lack of rhythm, but a lack of emotional control. The frustration, the rushed points, and the visible tension were symptoms Ferrero could no longer ignore. Now, as they prepare for the ATP Finals in Turin, the coach's focus has shifted entirely to mindset reconstruction. The off-season blueprint combines tactical adjustments and mental recalibration. Alcaraz's 2026 schedule will be lighter than before. Ferrero wants fewer tournaments, longer preparation blocks, and a gradual build-up toward peak events like Wimbledon and the US Open. But before that, a symbolic clash awaits: an exhibition match against Jannik Sinner on January 10th in Incheon, South Korea, 8 days before the Australian Open. It will be their first-ever duel in Asia, and though unofficial, it's being promoted as the opening act of the sport's new era. Both men have agreed to use the match as their season warm-up, a psychological test more than a physical one. Sinner, now back at number one, enters as the benchmark of consistency. Alcaraz, determined to reclaim his crown, sees it as a preview of the rivalry that will dominate 2026. Still, Ferrero insists on one thing: it's not about Sinner. It's about you. He wants Alcaraz to rediscover that fearless, instinctive player who shocked the world in 2022. The player who played to win, not to prove. The Spaniard's path to that version of himself begins now. In silence, in training, far from cameras and spotlights. And as 2025 closes, all eyes turn to Turin, where the world will find out if Alcaraz has already begun his mental transformation, or if Sinner's reign has only just begun. Turin, the city where legacies are tested and seasons are decided. For Carlos Alcaraz, the ATP Finals represent both an ending and a beginning, the closing chapter of a roller coaster year and the first step toward his 2026 resurrection. This week, all eyes are on the Pala Alpitour Arena, where 8 of the best players in the world gather to crown the Master of Masters. But for Alcaraz, the mission goes beyond the trophy. It's about redemption, and the chance to reclaim what once seemed untouchable: the world number one ranking. He arrives in Italy under mathematical precision. After losing the top spot to Jannik Sinner following the Paris Masters, the calculations are clear. Alcaraz needs 500 points to guarantee a return to number one. In practical terms, that means 3 victories in the round-robin stage, or 2 wins combined with a semi-final appearance. For Sinner, the situation is more complex. As the defending champion, he must win the entire tournament undefeated to keep the throne. This delicate balance sets the stage for one of the most tense ATP finals in years, a battle of nerves, consistency, and mental resilience. Behind the numbers lies a deeper story. Ferrero has reminded his player daily that the rankings are not the goal, they're a reflection. If you play like yourself, he said during their flight to Turin, the ranking will come back naturally. The Spaniard's journey from Murcia to Italy has been quiet. No social media updates, no flashy statements, just silence and focus. Those close to the team describe an atmosphere of calm determination. After the emotional turbulence in Paris, Ferrero has imposed a media blackout, reducing interviews and public appearances. Every minute now goes to training, recovery, and visualization. But as much as Alcaraz tries to stay detached, the world won't stop reminding him of what's at stake. Because this season, regardless of the rankings, has already been a financial triumph. According to ATP data, Alcaraz is the highest bonus earner of the Masters 1000 circuit this year. His victories in Monte Carlo, Rome, and Cincinnati have earned him over $4.5 million in Masters performance bonuses alone. Even after deductions for skipped tournaments in Toronto, Madrid, and Shanghai, his earnings surpassed €3.1 million. That doesn't include his ATP 500 dominance, with titles in Rotterdam, Queens, and Tokyo, which had another $1 million bonus for leading that category. Combined with his 2 Grand Slam victories, Roland Garros and the US Open, Alcaraz's 2025 campaign has become one of the most profitable in tennis history. Yet, as Ferrero often warns him, money can be a dangerous illusion. Success is not a bank account. It's a state of mind, he told him after the Paris defeat. That's why Turin is so symbolic. Here, the stakes aren't measured in dollars, but in reputation, control, and pride. Sinner, meanwhile, arrives as the man of the moment. His back-to-back titles in Vienna and Paris have pushed him to the top, and his composure continues to impress analysts. Former players and coaches describe him as the upgraded Djokovic, calm, efficient, unflappable. Even Frederic Fontong, coach of Felix Auger-Aliassime, praised Sinner's evolution. He's like Djokovic, but more dynamic. His serve and forehand have improved tremendously. Those words echo across the tour. They're flattering for the Italian, and a challenge for Alcaraz. Because while Jannik's strength is control, Carlos's power is chaos. When balanced correctly, that chaos becomes art. When misdirected, it becomes his weakness. That's why Ferrero's focus in Turin isn't just on strokes or patterns, it's on composure. He's designed specific training routines where Alcaraz practices under artificial noise and distraction, simulating the pressure of a packed arena. The goal is to train his emotions to remain neutral. No overreaction after winners, no frustration after errors. Observers say the results are showing. The young Spaniard seems calmer, even smiling between drills. The boy who once played with fire is learning to breathe through it. Turin will decide the rankings, but Ferrero insists the real test will come long before the final point. The moment of truth, he says, isn't the match. It's how you handle the silence before it. Turin is breathing tension. The air inside the Pala Alpitour arena feels heavy, charged with anticipation. It's not just another tournament, it's the battleground for the world #1. 2 names dominate every conversation, every press room, every late-night debate among fans. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. 4 months, the tennis world has been building toward this collision. Alcaraz, the explosive artist, the emotional fighter. Sinner, the cold technician, the mental fortress. Now, their stories converge again, but under very different circumstances. Carlos arrives as the hunter, not the hunted. And for the first time in a long time, he admits he feels freer that way. When you're chasing, there's no fear, he told the ATP press quietly before his first practice in Turin. You just play. That shift in mentality is precisely what Juan Carlos Ferrero has been working toward since Paris. The coach knows that when Alcaraz plays without the weight of expectation, his tennis becomes unstoppable. But when pressure seeps in, even small cracks can open. You don't need to win the match to prove who you are, Ferrero told him the night before their flight to Italy. You just need to play like Carlos again. Inside the team's private sessions, the focus has shifted entirely to emotional rhythm, the invisible pulse that defines his best tennis. Between practice sets, Ferrero often stops the drills to ask one question. How are you breathing? It sounds simple, but it's everything. The more chaotic the match, the more crucial control becomes. It's what Sinner has mastered this season, the ability to exist in stillness. That's the mirror Ferrero holds up for his pupil. "Look at Sinner," he said recently, during a review session of Vienna and Paris. "He's not faster than you, not stronger, not more creative. But he's calmer. That's the only difference." Those words carry a mix of respect and warning. Because in 2025, Sinner has redefined consistency. 2 major titles, Australia and Paris Masters, and a total of 10 straight indoor victories have made him the face of composure. Even his opponents call him unshakable. In contrast, Alcaraz's season has been brilliant yet volatile. 2 Grand Slams, Roland Garros and the US Open, and a string of Masters triumphs show his unmatched ceiling. But the dips, the emotional lapses, are what Ferrero wants to eliminate completely before 2026 begins. To achieve that, the team has built a quiet fortress in Turin. No guests, no distractions, no entourage. Just Ferrero, the physio, and 2 hitting partners. Every morning starts with mindfulness drills, followed by high-intensity practices. Alcaraz finishes each session with the same ritual. 5 minutes of stillness, eyes closed, racket on the ground. It's the new Ferrero formula. Focus, release, reset. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Sinner trains in total contrast. His sessions are minimal, efficient, silent. No yelling, no emotions. Only rhythm. Even his coach, Darren Cahill, has described their method as robotic precision. That's exactly what makes him dangerous, and exactly what motivates Carlos. The Spaniard thrives on chaos, but now he's learning to control it. Observers in Turin say his demeanor is different this week. Less tension, more patience. In his first practice set, after missing an easy forehand, he simply smiled, something he didn't do in Paris. "It's not about perfection," Ferrero whispered from the sideline. "It's about response." That's the new Alcaraz. And that's the version the tennis world hopes to see when the battle for the crown begins. Because beyond rankings, this rivalry is shaping something bigger. A psychological duel between emotion and control, risk and calculation, instinct and precision. As the lights go down and the cameras turn toward the center court of Turin, Ferrero's final words echo like a prophecy. This isn't just about number 1. This is about who will define the next era of tennis. And for the first time since Paris, Carlos Alcaraz smiles, not because he's already there, but because he finally knows where he's going. The storm is coming. Turin is ready. And WorldNews Tennis will be there to tell every second of it.